the next session we're doing is on people, and we've decided to put a couple of people on the screen for you guys for this session. So we're doing a people management journey conversation. So I'm going to ask Donna and Tim and Rose to all join me online. I'm very excited to have all of you guys here. It's just by way of introduction, Donna Pretorius is one of the co-founders at Outsource CFO, and he's also the director in charge of the people function. And he's going to be leading our conversation for the next little while. Mr. Moltino runs Intembeco Investment Administrators. They've been a long-term client of ours, and Tim leads about 100 people, very close to 100 people at the moment, on an incredible journey for the last couple of years. Tim, so good to see you, so good to have you. And Rose is from Virtue HR Solutions. She's an HR expert, and she's advised dozens and dozens and dozens of founders on creating a good people function within the company. So without further ado, Don, I'm going to hand over to you to take us away. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lo, and for those kind introductions. Tim, Rose, it's so amazing to have you on this platform.
It's lovely to be here, Dana.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, wonderful. So for the audience, I'm really looking forward to these golden nuggets. We're going to climb straight into it. We're going to cover 3 themes. Our topic for today is the people management journey, and I'm really looking forward to hear the insights from our panelists here today. I'm going to start off with our first theme. The first theme is about A, B, C, and D players, and that's our staff members, and how you can motivate B, C, and D players to become A type of players. So Tim, I'm going to jump straight into my question. I'm going to give the first one to the floor to you. Tim, as a director, should you spend the same amount of time on a B, C, or D player than you would typically spend on a type of player?
So thanks, Dana. I suppose that is a fantastic question. The most romantic answer to that is yes, you should spend time on everybody, right? But the reality is that that's really not practical. And in a business like ourselves, which isn't massive, so just under the 100 people, like Lo said, right? That just isn't practical for the senior managers to be able to do. And then on the flip side, right, the catchy side of things, I'd say, no, only spend more time on the A players. But the reality is, although I understand that makes a lot of sense in some ways, and create your circle of excellence and make sure that you really are protective of that development, the reality is that you then leave a lot on the table, because by not focusing on the others, you're putting them in boxes, you're putting ceilings in place, and ultimately you're probably just going to create some people issues down the line. So my answer, and which I think would fit most organizations, is that senior leaders need to understand where the biggest people development levers are, right, in the business. And then you need to pull on those as strongly as you possibly can. So for most businesses, right, the biggest lever in my mind are those sort of team leaders in our space, or first line managers, right? Because effectively through them, right, you have access to the people development of pretty much everybody else. So as a senior manager, right, and if I just think of our head of ops at this stage, she's responsible for about 40 people, right? Could she possibly develop each one of those 40 people and spend time with all of them? No, but what she could do really well is develop her 4 team leaders, right? And through the 4 team leaders, right, if you do that really well and there's an explicit understanding that their role is to develop the people in their teams, all of a sudden that the time spent on those 4 individuals touches 40 individuals, right, in the broader part of the team. And so I suppose I know that there are a variety of additional sort of talent management tools that you can use, and there's lots of fancy things that you can do. But if you could only do one, then I suppose my piece would be focus on those team leaders that are then going to touch and develop everybody else, and thereby turning those who want to from those B, C, D players into the A players.
Well, Tim, what I'm hearing is management to spend time with senior management or top management directors, to spend time with them so that there's a DNA transfer, a value transfer, and then for them to then also spend time with the colleagues that work on their project. A great feedback. Absolutely. From that. Rose, I want to direct, and I want to go a little bit into a different direction here. So all of us, we want to get the right people on the bus, and then we want those amazing people on the right seats, and we actually want those staff members to be happy and really happy at our firm. From a business point of view, how important is it for management to evaluate that staff happiness? And from your expertise, what would you say are typically the things that really make staff members happy?
So some companies will need more than others to measure happiness levels. With some companies, as you can see with Mike Scott, if you are keeping abreast with doing check-ins with your staff members, your management team is doing the same, then you might not need to measure happiness because this is something that is intuitively happening as you go. However, what we have discovered is the pulsing concept. We do weekly pulses to touch base on things like sentiment, energy levels. We ask employees to link business goals and skills that they're developing with sentiment and energy levels, for example. And that is working really well. It does help for HR to take that function from founders in order to do check-ins and see how things are going. And for us to be able to red flags quite like on the spot, because it's a weekly exercise. We know with small companies, we work with very fast-paced environments. Things can get old really quickly. So if we are able to touch base on a weekly basis with employees, then we know that we're on top of things. Now, having said that, if we are to see, something that works very well for happiness levels in a company, is listening time. So be it from a founder, being from the HR team, we need to give our employees listening time in order to know that they can express themselves. So by expressing themselves, then we know if there's resources that are needed, or if we need to create awareness in improvement areas, or create awareness to the management team on things that they're finding difficulty in. So that's very much what increases happiness levels in an organization.
Sure, Rose. What stood out for me is that energy levels and checking in with staff members on that. It's almost like if you don't have the right energy, then you don't have capacity to do projects, and then efficiency goes out the window. So truly great feedback from you.
So true. Let me just delve a little bit more on that. On happiness levels, I would say, energy is key. So I would say measuring things like sleep, what you eat, those are measures that really impact work more than what we could, think of happiness levels as of like a happiness status inside of you. Yeah. So those are things that, you get watches to measure these things, and you can get very smart about understanding yourself through these very basic measures.
Perfect. On the theme of A, B, C, and D players, so just to explain it, on the Y-axis, we have our company values. And on the X-axis, we have for instance, productivity of staff members, and we're able to map where A, B, or C staff member is based on this. Obviously, A type of player is someone that's a great culture fit, with great attitude and great ambitions, and that whose productivity is also amazing. And then a B and C staff member is not quite there yet. It might not be that they buy into the culture, they might have an attitude problem, or their productivity is not where you want it to be. Tim, next question is to you. So obviously we want to encourage these B, C, and D staff members to become A type of player. So how do you, as director, how do you motivate those type of staff members, B, C, and Ds, to become A players in your business from your experience?
So then I'm not convinced that you can force somebody to grow into something else, right? And by encourage, I think that as a leader, what you should be doing is helping your colleague align what they want and what the business wants, right? Yes. And in my mind, I think alignment is really the goal. And that's going to be different for everybody. So understanding the person's why, right? So their purpose and their reason for being, right? And I love the fact that Rose said some listening time, because that listening time, if you don't really understand and listen to each of those individuals, then you won't understand their why. And then it's going to be very hard for you to help sort of make alignment between that individual's personal development as well as the businesses. And then I think it's also important that you must remember that everybody's why and their motivational triggers are completely different. For some, it's the purpose of the business or the narrative of the business. Some it's achieving great things as a team. Some it's about legacy. Some is about money. Some is about title. right? Or some simply just about creating some form of stability at home and for their family. And whatever their motivation for growth is not something that you can give somebody, right? You can only help people sort of connect the dots. And I think that's really what should be focused on.
And Shu, what an amazing opportunity is to mentor someone in their lives, helping them with their growth journey. So much thanks for that, Tim. That alignment really stands out for me. Rose, I'm gonna direct the next question to you. So I've heard with the scaling business, it's important that top management grow at a faster pace than the business is growing themselves. So from a growth aspect, I would love to hear your thoughts. Why is it so important that the directors, that the top management also have a growth journey for them individually?
So I'm a firm believer that we all learn through experiences. There's theoretical learning that you can learn from, like, for example, a degree. But then in order to gain real skills in life, I think the best way is to apply yourself in action. So this will relate both to employees and also to managers. So to give an example, if you have an employee that is going through a kind of growth in the role, they're going to, let's say, take from 5 clients to manage 10 clients in a year time. And you've done that type of growth, let's say 5 years ago, you've been through that experience, then you're the right person to be able to, teach this person and then be able to coach this person on how to go and do this qualitative jump in terms of responsibilities, because you can relate and because you know exactly what resources are needed, you know exactly the type of challenges that that person is facing at the moment. So then you are positioned to be someone that can grow the person because you have grown yourself at the same rate in the past. So that's why it's important for senior management to also grow themselves in their skill set, because that's the way that you will be bringing people with you during that path. And that's the nice thing about development, that there's endless opportunities and endless ways that one can develop. So for one particular thing, you might be the best mentor, and then for other particular skill sets, someone else will be a great mentor in the business. And it's just nice to see how everybody will take on their own particular direction and taking from different people, different experiences that they've gone through life.
Perfect. So for the audience out there, anyone who's a business owner or so, put quality time aside for your own personal growth, read books, learn from other peers, look at some accelerators out there, brainstorm with like-minded individuals, reach out to Tim and Rose on LinkedIn on all of that to get their input on that, and make your own growth a priority. So we're going to move on to a next theme, and this theme is based on recruitment tactics and strategies in a highly talented and competitive environment. So all know that you need to get great people on the bus and the right people then on the seats, and culture trumps strategy, and love them or they will leave, all of those principles. But Rose, I've got a quick question for you. Firstly, on the thing about recruitment, on the whole thing, recruitment, when must a scaling business consider to recruit themselves, or when must they consider to outsource that function?
That's a great question. So we provide recruitment as an outsourced company, and we average about 20 to 30 hours of work to do a recruitment exercise. And that would be because we already have the templates for, job ads, and we have a model to work out interview questions. We have the written assignment, so everything is done there for us. I would say if you're to start a recruitment exercise from scratch, it will take a founder about 50 hours of work. So I think it's very much doing the math there, taking what's your hourly rate multiplied by 50. Does it make sense to recruit in-house, or you need to outsource that function? Having said that, recruitment is, it's a complex game. I have had to, get on recruitment warranties because the recruitment exercise identifies someone as the best candidate that wasn't, and that can happen. I'm a firm believer that there's, as many recruitment is complex as many people are out there, because we are dealing with people. We all have different motivations. We can dress a story because we have needs, but at the end of the day, we're really not aligned, and because our maybe circumstances changed and things like that. So recruitment is complex. You might find that the first CV that came through, was a great candidate and you onboarded this person and this has been your employee for 10 years and everything worked out well. But I might say that's seldom the case. And there is a very strategic way to about recruitment. And I would say when you outsource that, you are going to be getting the best in the industry out there, mostly for technical recruitments where there's very specific skills that you're looking for. I would say outsourcing is always the way to go.
Thank you so much, Rose. My last question is going to go to Tim before I hand over back to Lo. Tim, my question for you, some final tips from your end for strategies for staff retention that you would be keen to share with the audience.
So I think what is really important is for everybody to have taken and listened to Mike Scott's conversation, because I think that some of the things you mentioned are really practical ways in which people could be engaged and really enjoy the experience at the place that they work. I suppose from a different perspective, I don't think staff retention is a few tools. I don't think it's necessarily just pay, right, or the development. I really do think that staff retention is a mindset, and I think that mindset, right, comes from a few things. The foundation of that mindset is, one, respect of your colleagues; two, treating people as you would like to be treated, and then three, being really transparent, as transparent as you can responsibly be as a business leader. And how practically that sort of can work out is, I suppose, all of those things sort of think about communication. If you're really communicating well, and again, I think Mike's example is a great one, right? And you're doing all of the above, it means that everybody at least understands what the business is trying to do or aspiring to achieve. It means that everybody has an understanding of the potential challenges that the business is facing. It means that when there's an issue, everybody's got the opportunity to solve it, and there's that listening time and listening opportunity that's so important that Rose mentioned, right? And that if there's a tough decision, right, regardless of whether people like it or not, people understand where the tough decision has come from. And I suppose if you were doing those things really well and you took a step back, right, you could ask people, do they feel like they're working to achieve something special as a team, which is great, and actually I think will create staff retention, right? Or do they feel that they're working to help you achieve something special? And to be honest, that's not so great, because the one they invested in personally and they engaged with, and the other one, actually they could walk away from very easily, because that's something special to you, not necessarily something special to them. And I suppose I use that as an example. The reality is that if you use those things as a mindset, so that respect and the treating people as you would and being transparent, the reality is that your decision making around things like balance, work-life balance, remuneration, your budgetary spend, what types of clients you bring on, right? All of those things will filter into that and ultimately make the space that individuals work in a better or worse one, right? And those are going to be then the key things that keep people around and have them invested in the business.
Thank you so much, Tim, for those golden nuggets. There you have it, guys. Tim Moltino, the Managing Director of Intimbeco, and Rose Elcock, the HR partner at Virtue HR Solutions. Reach out to them via LinkedIn to take the engagements further. Tim and Rose, thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate your inputs.
Hey, Lo here. I'm one of the founders of Outsource CFO. If you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe below. We'll see you next time.